What's up everybody, it's Bergerac, and I am Bergerac back with a new video for the first time in years. I'm sure you've noticed my absence, all 7 of you that still watch this channel. And basically what happened was Karl found out I was recording the new video talking about him, so he had me kidnapped and tried to have me killed. However, he failed, so I'm back now. And I just wanted to go through and summarize what's going on with this lawsuit update. If you've watched anybody else's videos on this, most of them are pretty long, so I don't want to do a hefty reaction to this. I really just kind of want to break down and summarize what's going on and give my opinions on what I watched. I'll be honest, I did see the Kino Casino video I think twice at this point. It's fucking hilarious. I'll link it below if you want to watch it and just laugh at how absurd this response video is. But the gist of it is the first 7 minutes are solid. He acknowledges a lot of issues that he had and a lot of mistakes that he honestly made.
Now that the lawsuit has been over for a couple of months, and I no longer have a vested interest in being correct, it has allowed me to finally accept that in this instance, Billy wasn't lying and his lawsuit against me was not unjustified. I defamed Billy. My actions were unacceptable, and that's why he won. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean that Billy didn't also lie a lot, even in court. And it doesn't mean I actually caused him hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages like the judge asserted. And it doesn't mean I didn't also have a valid defense that I could have possibly won on. But just in principle, I was at fault. My actions were wrong, and to be quite honest, after the dust has settled, I now personally believe I should have lost the lawsuit.
He takes accountability for that, which is really all I ask for when a YouTuber fucks up on something. And he did, which was awesome. However, after the 7-minute mark, shit hits the fucking fan, and he spends the next hour 46 coping about the fact that he lost. So I'm gonna go through and summarize so we don't have to watch the full 2 hours. I won't do that to you. The video opens with him explaining that there's not gonna be an appeal on the lawsuit. He talked to a lawyer that was apparently more expensive than the best lawyers he could afford, and said there's no fucking way you're gonna appeal this because there's not a way for him to win. The problem with the case, open and shut, was that he defamed Billy. Not that Billy's a liar, not that Billy does all this fucked up shit, not that Billy's a cheater. Karl implied Billy played a part in Apollo and taking his life. There's not really a way for him to appeal that successfully without wasting a shitload of money only to be told no again. So he's not going to, which is good. On top of that, he does acknowledge that he defamed Billy. He does admit that in the video. And he also adds that the original retraction that he did, he shouldn't have put it at the end of an extra video unrelated to the situation, and that the retraction itself was really backhanded and shitty.
And once I realized I was wrong back in 2021, my retraction should have been far better. Again, at the time, I was in denial and I didn't want to believe my mistake was that severe. But it really should have been its own video, and not placed at the end of a separate video. I don't think all retractions need to be in a separate video, but considering the severity of my mistake, which I now acknowledge, in hindsight, it really should have been its own video. Even the retraction itself wasn't very good either. I only apologized for making a factual error about the details of the settlement, and I just denied there were any further more serious implications. And I also took the opportunity to continue to criticize Billy while I was at it. I made a mistake, I wronged Billy, so I should have owned up to it completely and with integrity.
That was all pretty solid. He was still catty, which is to be expected because it's Karl Jobst. But he really didn't do that bad of a job going through and actually taking accountability for the shit he fucked up. The problem is everything that follows. He explains that the total debt that he owes to Billy is 990,000 Australian dollars, which is an absurd amount of money. It's a lot. And he says that he did file for bankruptcy, signs the properties over to his wife, as well as selling his share of the company that he runs his YouTube channel through to his wife. So he owns nothing now. It's all belongs to his wife, and as a result, Billy won't get any money. He says that Billy can't get money from the YouTube channel because it's under the company, and because Billy didn't sue the company, he sued Karl, he can't do anything about it. So he's not gonna get any money from the YouTube channel, which, to be fair, I don't think he would have gotten a lot anyways. He mentions in the video that his view count has halved since the verdict came down. However, it's actually worse than that now, because where he was getting hundreds of thousands of views before, 300, 400, 5, 6, he is now in the 1 to 200K range. He's had one video go above 200,000 since the final lawsuit update he did a couple weeks back. His channel's fucked, and it's completely self-inflicted. However, Karl does this weird thing where he tries to frame that as a good thing, because that means Billy's not gonna get any money. And to me, it's like, you lost. You owe this money to Billy. I know he has this bitter, deep hatred for this guy, but he literally put himself in this position, and now he's reaping. He was having lots of fun sowing, and now he's fighting, kicking and screaming, not have to reap what he sowed. But at the end of the day, he's not breaking the law. So he's able to weasel his way out of giving Billy anything that he owes him, aside from the initial like 150K. He explains that the bankruptcies in Australia last about 3 years if he's not able to pay anything. So if he hits that 3-year mark without getting more than is allotted, which is about $85,000 AUD, he will see all of his debts discharged. He claims that he had other debts outside of Billy's, talks about credit card debt, unpaid taxes. He goes full Innuendo Studios.
Australian bankruptcy lasts for 3 years. After 3 years, all of my debts are discharged, which basically means they are permanently erased. And yes, this includes my debt to Billy, as civil judgments and cost orders are considered provable debts and are discharged through bankruptcy. Aside from my properties and my share in the company, I don't have any other recoverable assets. Realistically, unless something drastically changes, the only money the trustees will get from me will be from my wife buying my properties, which again was $224,000. So out of that money, how much will Billy get? We have to consider the fact that Billy is not the only person I owe money to. I had credit card debts and tax debt. These were normal debts that most people have, and they were debts that I was planning to pay at some point. But because Billy forced me into bankruptcy, all of my personal debts also fell into the bankruptcy, and they also became creditors. And these other creditors will take some of the money that the trustee receives as well. I don't know the exact figure, but I would guess that Billy will receive somewhere around $150,000.
Part of me feels like when he's talking about the credit card debt shit, he saw the writing on the wall once the verdict was getting closer and decided to charge up all of his shit because he's gonna be in debt anyways, right? He's gonna be bankrupt anyways. And so he ran all this shit through, called it a day, and is now saying, you know, it's not just Billy I owe money to. Ultimately, this bankruptcy is a great thing because after 3 years of living in a hovel, it'll all go away. That's really all that Billy says on that. He does explain that he offered to settle the lawsuit with Billy before it got to a verdict, but Billy refused. And that stuck out to me because I don't know if you guys remember, but Karl had said in one of his videos he was not going to settle this lawsuit. Everyone else settled with Billy. He wasn't going to. He was going to see this through to the end, come hell or high water, because he was so confident he was going to win, and somebody had to take Billy down, and he decided that he was the one that was going to do it. So hearing him say, I was the good guy. I tried to settle this because I knew he wouldn't get any money from me. I explained to him that I would go bankrupt and he wouldn't get anything from me, and this was the best offer he could get. But I thought it was really two-faced to sit here and say, I tried to settle and be the good guy. Bitch, you didn't want to settle. You literally only did it because the alternative was for you to lose everything and have to sign your shit over to your fucking wife, and now you own nothing. You, a man at your age, legally own nothing. If she divorces you tomorrow, you're on the streets, big man. You don't even own your car. You can see why this is such a hot mess, and it's so strange that he spends this entire video trying to frame this as a good thing. So as he says all this, we get past everything that really matters in regards to the lawsuit, and he decides that because he's lost everything and has nothing else to possibly lose that he thinks, he decides to go after the personal life of Billy and Billy's wife and former wife. He talks about how Billy also doesn't own anything and calls themselves kindred spirit. He says Billy doesn't own his home, that his wife owns it instead. And he took out a mortgage on the house in order to file his lawsuit. And he also accuses Billy of potentially cheating on his wife to start a family with another lady while he was still married.
So if Billy was married in 2003, why would he lie and say that he was married in 96? Well, it's because when he started having children with his current wife, he was married to another woman. Billy first got married in 1990. Then, in the mid-90s, he started a family with a woman who wasn't his wife. On the 13th of March 2003, Billy appeared in Season 4's 7th episode of the MTV series True Life, I'm a Gamer. In that episode, it shows Billy with his supposed wife, Evelyn. The interesting thing about this is that Evelyn wasn't his wife.
Who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
Why are you talking about these women that have nothing to do with this? We don't care. What matters is that you got sued for claiming Billy was a huge part of a man taking his own life. And you got found liable for damages because you lied. You fucked up. No one gives a shit about Billy lying about anything, especially nothing in his personal life. It's about what you said and what you did. So that whole section really pissed me off. Who cares? He then goes on to admit that Billy Mitchell is indeed a tall man. I don't know if he's trying to joke and his dry, bitter tone just comes out and makes it sound petty and sad. It was this weird attempt at humor in the middle of the video saying that, okay, Billy's actually not a short king, he's a tall king, good for him. The only other thing I think that really matters is he does point out some things that were contradictory in the deposition from Billy Mitchell, but everybody that was there listened to it, everybody that was there experienced it. You can't appeal it. So even though Billy was contradictory and, ultimately the judge found you liable and no one's willing to appeal that decision. So no matter what you think of Billy Mitchell, he won. And honestly, he deserved the win because again, Karl, you fucked up real bad with this whole situation and you ain't got nobody to blame for this but yourself. No matter what you think of Billy Mitchell, no matter what he said, clearly none of it was bad enough to warrant you winning this lawsuit or even being able to appeal the loss. And I say all that like I kind of like Billy now because he's really fucking funny. He's really handled this with a great sense of humor. He's been a sore winner, but no one can fault him for that because Karl himself said he'd be a sore winner when he won. It doesn't really matter what I think about him. He's lost every lawsuit up until this one, and I think this is really the only one that mattered because it's somebody who's gone after him for so fucking long. It was a deserved win. So the last section of this is him talking about slop tubers, and he goes after LUS in particular. He is a legal YouTuber who has been talking about the Karl Jobst situation. He'd basically break down why LUS fucked up, or Lus, where Lus made mistakes, and basically Lus went too far. He tried to suggest that what Karl was doing by filing bankruptcy and talking about filing to get out of paying Billy.
Then LUS wasn't satisfied just going after me. He started defaming my wife, calling her a criminal, saying that she will go to jail, inciting his viewers to attack her and report her to the government.
Wang, who's Karl's wife, which I proved to you, born in China. I have all the information, right? I'm not going to reveal it. Your wife be going to jail too. Your wife is going to jail too. We need to send these to the bankruptcy court. We need to send this video to the bankruptcy court. I need to get in touch with the bankruptcy court.
This is an innocent person, mind you, who has done absolutely nothing wrong. This is why I said I would report him, after he started going after an innocent person simply because she is my wife. Thankfully, LUS only managed to delay things for a day or two. The trustee looked into the reports, they read my Discord conversation, realized that all I was doing was accurately describing what would happen, and then they accepted the offer. But for a day or two, my wife was extremely stressed and upset. So congratulations, LUS, you made an innocent woman cry. I guess that means you've achieved something.
Again, while it is slimy, it's not illegal. What he was doing was fine. I speculated that it might not be legal. It seemed really shitty, but I am not a lawyer and I never claimed to be. And I also didn't threaten to contact the bankruptcy courts, which it turns out Lus did do. Went to the Australian bankruptcy court, let them know what Karl was doing, and I think he went way too far doing that. It's just this weird thing where internet speculation starts to have a consequence in real life that just muddies shit up. Really, that's all it comes down to. Karl's right, Lus went too far. Lus did make a response video and basically said, yeah, Karl, you can sue me, it's fine. I'll represent myself, and here's a certain amount of money that you'll get if you win.
I will offer Karl this apology. If Karl feels that I have defamed him, I will give him 2 advantages in the lawsuit should he choose. I will give him 1. I will put the money in escrow. He does not have to worry about winning and then losing a chunk of money. Whatever money he sues me for, assuming it's less than $1 million. So I'm thinking it's around $450,000, something around there. That is the amount Billy Mitchell sued him for. Number 2, I promise to only represent myself. So I am willing to only I will not seek. So I have a great lawyer in Houston. He defended me and we resolved our case not amicably, but we did it in the best way. I would have used him. I will represent myself.
Dude, you're doing too much. It's another thing where it's like, just admit that you fucked up. You made a mistake. You went too far by claiming so confidently this was indeed a mistake on Karl's part and that there should be legal ramifications for declaring bankruptcy to get out of paying Billy. And it was too much. That is the basic breakdown of the final lawsuit update. If you guys ever want to see a more in-depth response, I don't mind recording a longer one, but I figured we're all kind of tired of Karl at this point. We're ready to move on until Billy sues him again, this time suing his company rather than Karl directly to get the money that he's trying to keep away from Billy. So that's really all I had to say about it. Go Billy, congrats on winning the lawsuit. Congrats on the hot sauce company doing really well, and here's to more victories in the future. But yes, I will be returning to a regular recording schedule. I just really wanted to get this one out and express my thoughts on this whole thing. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next one.